Appalachian Voices tells Grist, quote, there are going to be fewer inspections, which means that operators that are not following the rules are going to get away with not following the rules for longer than they would have. In fact, even prior to Elon coming in with the chainsaw, MSHA was already understaffed, already underfunded, and failing to meet its own annual inspection targets. Think of how much worse things are about to get. Now, these cuts also could not come at a worse time. After the upper Big Branch reforms, injury rates at some of the most active mines are once again rapidly rising as the industry declines and coal companies chase deeper seams of coal at increasing risk to workers. Quote, at the Marshall County mine in West Virginia, one of the largest producers of coal in North America, the injuries rose by more than 50% from a decade ago, records show. At the Buchanan mine in Virginia, the numbers of miners hurt on the job increased ninefold, from 3 injuries to at least 27 during the same period. And at the same time, a particularly brutal new form of black lung has also been ravaging miners at younger and younger ages, sometimes after only a short period on the job due to increased airborne silica dust. So underground miners, they're cutting through more and more sandstone to mine thinner seams of coal using continuous miner machines that kick huge amounts of dust into the air. Miners today are also compelled to work longer hours. 10 to 12-hour shifts are common, with fewer breaks contributing to more intense levels of exposure. Remember, Appalachia continues to suffer from poverty. Coal mining remains one of the few ways in the region to earn a middle-class living. So these conditions of economic deprivation have stripped workers of power and left them with few choices but to trade their health for their livelihood. Sadly, union representation among miners has also fallen significantly from its peak. Many miners today are, in fact, non-union. And as worker power declines, miners are at the mercy of regulators to enforce the safety standards that can make the difference between facing the miserable, slow suffocation of black lung and getting to enjoy the fruits of your hard work with your family into old age.
Identifies just how badly impaired his lungs have become. The test confirms what he and respiratory therapist Lisa Emery already know.
Almost there. Big breath in. Suck in, suck in. Good. Take a break. You can take a break.
Kevin's black lung is so severe that he can no longer work in the mines.
Yeah, these things are tough.
What's different about Kevin is his age. Used to be black lung didn't force a man out of the mines until he was in his late 50s or early 60s. Kevin is just 34. Kevin has been a coal miner almost half his life. There he was at age 18, suddenly making more money than he ever dreamed possible.
The first 6 months underground, at $12 an hour, made $76,000.
In 6 months?
In 6 months. That's how much I worked. Sometimes I wouldn't even go home. I'd go out and sleep in the parking lot, get back up and go back in. Then you look at stuff different.
How?
You really realize the dangers when you have something to live for instead of just yourself.
Now, every aspect of dealing with black lung, from prevention to research to early identification to treatment, all of it is under assault by this administration. First of all, Trump's new mine safety head is the former head of an industry lobbying group, which is suing over the planned implementation of a new rule to help to combat black lung. But the primary assault on miner health is coming from RFK Jr.'s indiscriminate cuts at HHS. In particular, hundreds of workers have been laid off from the National Institute of Occupational Health and Safety, that's called NIOSH. This is the office within HHS, which is specifically targeted at worker safety, cops, firefighters, and miners. And there is probably no group of workers that benefits more from the work of NIOSH than miners. In fact, researchers at this commission, they were the first to identify this new aggressive form of black lung that is afflicting miners due to that increased silica dust. According to Louisville Public Media, quote, Pittsburgh's research branch alone boasted an experimental mine, an acoustic chamber, and a lab that was instrumental in proving that miners were slowly dying by inhaling toxic silica dust. NIOSH also runs a mobile clinic that rolls through coal country to screen miners for black lung in its early stages and consult with them on treatment plans and track the spread and virulence of this deadly disease. But perhaps NIOSH's most important work is administering a program that allows any miner with signs of black lung to receive a job transfer within their own company to non-dusty work with no loss of pay and no loss of benefits. Yesterday, I had the chance to speak with a West Virginia lawyer named Sam Patzunk. He explained to me just how pivotal that program has been in protecting the health of thousands of coal miners. He also explained to me the utter heartbreak of watching men who are not even out of their 40s sitting across from him, wheezing and strapped to an oxygen tank because of what this horrible disease had done to them. These are human beings. We know how to protect them. This administration, though, has chosen to throw them to the wolves. Now, many miners also depend on local clinics funded through MSHA for black lung treatment. That, too, is now in doubt. Current funding for those clinics lasts through June, and safety advocates tell the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette they have no idea what is going to happen after that. There is probably one hope for a potential reprieve here. West Virginia Senator Shelley Moore Capito, she's a member of the powerful Appropriations Committee, and being a Republican, she could potentially appeal to Trump or Elon for a stay of these disastrous cuts. So far, she's put out what I would classify as a fairly tepid statement, saying, quote, "During my meetings with Secretary Kennedy prior to his confirmation and as recently as last week, we discussed how important the health of coal miners is to West Virginia. Any cuts that impact their health monitoring need to be restored immediately. I'm working with the Department of Health and Human Services to understand the depth of these cuts, both to programs and the workforce in Morgantown." She made sure, though, to emphasize that she believes in, quote, "the broad vision." Let's be clear here. This attack on miner health and safety, it's a betrayal. It's the latest betrayal in a long list of national betrayals of Appalachia that has led to over a century of extraction and exploitation that helped to build the nation, made a few very wealthy, and hung the workers and ordinary citizens of this region out to dry. It is also specifically a betrayal by Donald Trump, who built his political victory in 2016 on the back of these workers. He promised to be their champion. And with his celebration of fossil fuels to lead an economic renaissance that would deliver greater prosperity for them and their communities. Never trust a robber baron. He will use you to get power, and he will dump you the second it does not serve his billionaire buddies. The miners of Appalachia, unfortunately, will never compete with the guy who dumped $250 million into Trump's campaign coffers. And, you know, this program I spoke to the lawyer Sam about, so he really wanted me to understand how important it was that you have this mobile NIOSH clinic. It's like a, looks like a bus that rolls through a community. It's very high visibility. Everybody sort of knows about it and really values it. They're able to do early detection. And then if you have even early signs of black lung developing, which, by the way, guys, there's no cure for it, only gets progressively worse. If you have even early signs of that, you're able to avail yourself of this program to transfer to what they call a non-dusty job, so you're no more at risk. If you don't have anyone to administer this program, it's just gone. Like, it just doesn't exist anymore. Even though this is something Congress said we want to do, it's important. It's important to, all the legislators from this region. And now it's just going to be completely ended.
There's nothing even to say. It's sick. It's gross, especially because, as you and I know, these are all Republican voters too, right? So this is a state which went 40-something%. And honestly, and this is what I worry about, will they really know about this, right? Not even in terms of media, but given the connection to coal mining and so much of what we've seen with the culture war, like this is the real test of theory about like how much you can punish somebody and still see if they'll actually continue to support you. Because, I mean, you tell me, what have you seen in West Virginia politics? Is their senator speaking up for them? Is
Barely.
Anybody saying a word?
Barely. Yeah, barely. No, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
And, it's devastating. I think it's important, zoom out from these miners, which, again, have just been betrayed at every turn in our country's history and, do this incredibly difficult work that truly did help to build our nation. But to zoom out from them, when you see the people who had their badges revoked at HHS and they're being kicked out, they're lined up and whatever, you can sometimes gloss over what each of these individual programs might mean to a certain person, to a certain community. The way that just getting rid of, it really is an end run around Congress too, because they wanted this program to be in place. They were trying to do something to, assist and protect this group of workers. And this administration has just figured out that if they can get rid of the people that are administering the program, then it's like they ended the program altogether without having to go back through Congress. So, it really is going to be unfortunately,